Hello, this is David William Weissner with another episode of David Speaks. Today I'm going to talk about my internment in Rikers Island. Rikers Island is the most notorious and worst jail complex in the United States. I was there for almost a year, and I want to talk to you about what happens to mental patients in Rikers Island. It's a large percentage of the population there are mental patients. I've written a book called Bipolar Disorder Through My Eyes, A Memoir of Hope, and I talk about my internments there and in other jails. And I was in Rikers Island for almost a year. I was never tried. I was never found guilty of anything. I was just warehoused there because the judge wanted me there for whatever reason. I was arrested because my mother and family were trying to get me help because I was in a manic state of bipolar disorder, and they wanted me in the hospital where I can get help and the right medication to return to mental health, which is where I am now. So I arrived at my mother's house to pick up my things because I had moved to an apartment in Newport. And I think one of the neighbors or whatever, watching out for me. And they called the police, and they came and they arrested me, and they brought me to a place called Bellevue Hospital 19 West, which is a jail hospital. And my mother's idea and my lawyer's idea was to get me back home to Staten Island, to South Beach Psychiatric Center, where I had been many times before, and they've always helped me return to sanity and wellness. Okay, well, I was there for like 2-3 weeks, and the judge had a different opinion. He put me in Rikers Island for real. And this is something everyone there feared, because Rikers Island is a bad place, a very bad place for human beings to be. They treat you like animals there. When you first come in, they put you in a big room, and I mean, not a huge room, a big room. And I saw somebody have a seizure there, and they pull off the other inmates pull off their rings while they fell. The man who had a seizure smashed his head against the metal toilet and died. There's blood everywhere. And that was my introduction to Rikers Island. Then we went to another room the next day. There's about 100 men, no seats, all laying on the ground, some on newspapers, some on boxes. And we stayed there for 3 days, okay, waiting to get put in. A lot of things happened to me in Rikers Island that shouldn't happen to anyone. The food was disgusting. It was below any kind of standard you could ever have. It was disgustingly made. It was disgustingly tasted. People fought over the food. What I did, I was in one cell block, and they took all of us out to pat us down for a walk to wherever we're going, the library or something. And there was one guard there, a corrections officer. I don't remember his name, and I wouldn't give it to you anyway, but he was a big black guy, like 6'4", beard. He took me to the other wall for some reason. He wanted to be alone with me. Okay. So he didn't even cuff me down. He just put his hand like this and grabbed my dick and my balls and squeezed them. Okay. I was sexually assaulted in Rikers Island, New York, by a corrections officer. And it hurt a lot. Okay. So I went to see the doctor. I had to take off my clothes for the doctor to hear him examine me. And he said to me I was very lucky that my testicles weren't ruptured, that could have happened easily. But I was in pain in my stomach for days. So I told the captain what had happened. And I was very lucky in this stage because the captain actually believed me. And these things might be on camera. There's cameras everywhere in that place. And he called in NYPD. And NYPD, they um, they interviewed me. And they took me seriously. They had his name, they had his badge number, whatever. They put it on tape. And while I was on the way to talk to these people, this molester and his friend, they followed me down the hall, baiting me, going, "Hey, hey, faggot, faggot, hey, faggot, faggot, where you going?" And I just, I don't want to get into them too much because there's two of them, there's one of me. Like anything could happen, Rikers Island. They can molest me, they could beat the shit out of me, or leave me for dead in an accident. These things happen at Rikers Island. So I just said, fuck you too, motherfucker. And that's it. Whatever. So, my lawyers got wind of it. We talked about it. They asked me if I wanted to sue Rikers Island. Sue Rikers Island, right? Get some money out of it. Okay, that was worth it. I didn't sue Rikers Island while I was in Rikers Island because I didn't think it was safe. It's not the kind of place you want to piss off too much, even though I pissed them off a lot. And I got into a lot of trouble at Rikers Island for many things I did. Because the way I looked at it, I was on a mission of rebellion against them. Because to prove to them, it was just I can't even put it into words. I did fuck with them. And I got in trouble a lot when I took away my commissary and fined me all kinds of money. Because I was rebelling against what's the right word? I was rebelling against the inhumanity they were torturing me with and the other prisoners. So I had my way of getting back at them when I could, like pulling the phone wire out of the wall, like all kinds of things, little things. One time they would, when I was in with a gang, they put me in one of the worst cell departments there, with a gang members and me and some others. And every week they would come, they would tear up our rooms, our cells. They would come in with dogs. They would strip us naked in front of women COs. We have to get naked. We have to bend over and spread our ass cheeks so they could look for whatever. Okay. And this happened every week. And then they would take shackles made out of like plastic behind your back. And they tie it up and they bring it tight, like almost like a Glad garbage bag. In the old days, I had those ties, and it would hurt. Meaning it was torture. We were tortured, and I had bloody wrists many times from this. They didn't give a shit. They didn't get loose. They didn't get looser. They didn't come off till we got back. We would go on the bus. We go to the medical dorm, whatever you call it. We'd come back. They'd still be on. And I remember one time, I was just standing there with all the other prisoners and the COs and the ones with the dogs were coming out screaming at us. And I screamed at them. "Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are?" These fucking bastards treating us like animals. And the gang member next to me goes, No, Dave, don't do it. Because they could have beat the shit out of us for real. Or the dog might have got loose. Who the hell knows, man? It was like a fucking prisoner camp in World War II or something. It was bad there. Other things happened to me there. There was some anti-Semitic things that happened to me because I'm a Jew. And I was in another cell block. Okay. And they wanted me, I wanted on your patch, on your it's like a little patch that you wear. I don't remember it too well, but it said Judaism on it, or Christianity, or Catholicism, or Muslim, whatever you are. They put it on you, and then you can go see your cleric for a meeting or for services. I wanted to go to services, something to do. Okay, there were some other Jewish prisoners there, and then they said, no. If you're Jewish, you got to eat only the kosher meals, and that's it. You can't eat the regular food. I'm not kosher. I don't happen to be kosher. I don't follow that thing. But you know what they did? They tried to force it on me, and I didn't want it. And this guy, this big rough Italian guy, he said, he gave me this kosher meal. He goes, "No, you're a Jew. You eat kosher." And it was this disgusting little fish in there. So I threw her back in the cage. Threw her back in, I don't want this shit. Give me a real food, man. And so he came out and he gave me the hammer. He like this, bang. He hit me as hard as he could right here. I don't know if you can see there's still a small scar there. Okay, hit me as hard as he could there. I was wearing my glasses, old glasses. I felt them break off my face. I closed my eyes because I thought maybe glass was going to come in my eyes. And then I just went at him, right forward. Just he didn't knock me out. I'm sure he couldn't believe it. Okay, he hit me as hard as he could with the right hand. I went forward and I started hitting him left, right, against his head, back and forth. And it was almost like a riot broke out. The people on my side, my friends, tried to jump on him. His friend tried to pull me off of him. It was a semi-riot. It was just explained to me later what was going on. It finally ended, and he was down on the floor, and I was screaming at him. All kinds of fucking crazy shit. It was a wild, wild fight. Okay. Why was I put there? Because the judge put a mental patient in a jail when I belonged in a state hospital with people who were trying to help me. Blame the judge, blame the system. A lot of people had to be there for the same reason. That's my tale for now. There's so much more. Buy my book online. It's put in my name, David William Weissner, into Amazon, or put in bipolar disorder through my eyes. I've seen these eyes, these brown eyes have seen things you would not believe. I'll continue to talk about it on this show, and I hope you understand things. You know, a lot of unfair things happen, even in America, which we love so much, or I love so much. Okay, have a great night. Take it easy. Goodbye.